Hello, beautiful people. It's Sindafam. Welcome to the channel. Today we're back again with another video, and this is about Blake and Ryan and Hugh Jackman. Right? We're gonna check this together. This is from Candace Owens, and I love your thoughts and your contribution at the end of the video. Let's dive right in.
Okay, I want to say this right at the top. For some reason, every time that I try to say Hugh Jackman, I keep saying Hugh Hefner. So if I do that throughout this episode, please excuse me. I don't know why. I just can't get Hugh Jackman out, and I've said it like 22 times and been corrected by my team. But anyways, we actually haven't discussed him much at all throughout this case, which is kind of strange. I don't really know why we didn't kind of do a deeper dive onto Hugh Jackman and the role that he played in all of this when we've looked at everybody else. Maybe secretly because I was an X-Men stan. I absolutely love the X-Men movies, and maybe there was a piece of me that just didn't want him to be a part of the bullying squad against Justin Baldoni. Alas, we have to look at this case objectively, and he was in fact a part of the bullying that happened to Justin Baldoni, whether or not he wants to admit that or sees that. Here are the facts. Ready? We know that he was standing alongside Ryan Reynolds in every single one of these scenes on Deadpool and Wolverine, where Nice Pool was introduced and then abused and then assassinated in a very graphic, overdone manner because ha ha ha, that's really funny to kill people that you have an issue with in real life by turning them into characters. It is highly unlikely, therefore, that Hugh Jackman was not therefore at least aware of why his quote unquote best friend Ryan Reynolds was writing in all of these lines, especially because we did the timeline and we showed you that this was not initially supposed to be a part of their principal filming. And then they went back and they did some filming after the SAG-AFTRA strike, and somebody had admitted that they had done all of that dog pool filming. I said dog poo, that too, dog pool filming at the very end of the movie. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. Hugh would have known exactly what his best friend was thinking, especially because it wasn't a part of the larger plot of the movie. Hugh Jackman was also in the now infamously cringe It Ends With Us promotional skit that had nothing to do with promoting the movie, which was about domestic violence, where Ryan directed it and he brought in his mom and Blake was in the background. We learned that, but he also brought in his best friend because he just wanted a little bit of A-list power there. And when you're really obviously trying to be a high school bully, you want to be like, we're the cool kids and you're nothing. What better way to make him uncomfortable than to promote his movie, him being Justin Baldoni's movie, and bring in an A-lister to mock him. And so Hugh Hefner played himself, Ryan's quote unquote best friend, as he was speaking to Brandon Sklenar. And Brandon Sklenar is of course supposed to be Justin Baldoni. Let's take a listen to 20 seconds of that clip just to jog your memory rather, on what exactly Hugh Hefner said.
No. It's not every day a guy gets to interview the love interest of his best friend's wife, and the guy trying to replace Ryan as a husband and me as his best mate. Holy shit. What the hell are you doing messing with my best buddy's wife?
Sir, I have no idea what's happening at all today.
Because when you look at this indeed did not make sense. And you know what's funny is they thought this was funny. Up until now, it's not funny. It's funny, but it's not funny. Up until now, it is not funny anymore.
And so I also want to remind you that Hugh Hefner then appeared at the It Ends With Us premiere. Again, not his movie. Kind of weird that he's sitting the red carpet with them. He obviously knows what is going on, what would that conversation have been on the way to the premiere, as they made Justin Baldoni go really, really early and then stuffed him in the basement. Again, this was all just meant to be a power display, and Hugh Jackman played a role in it. He did. So he was one of the unnamed dragons, if you will, in all of this. And it looks like for that, he is being awarded for his contributions with a deposition. All right. So check out this headline. You can see the Daily Mail. It says, surprising new twist in Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni legal battle as Hugh Jackman is pulled into the saga.
Okay.
And then it tells us that according to a source, Hugh Jackman is going to be deposed before the trial because Baldoni's legal team wants to get the full scope of Reynolds' conduct during the time that It Ends With Us was being filmed. An insider also told the Mail that, quote, Hugh will be deposed if this goes to trial. There is no way that he cannot. Baldoni's legal team is doing everything they need to get a full scope of Ryan's conduct during the time that It Ends With Us was filmed. As Ryan's good friend who starred in the film and was with Blake and Ryan many times in private during that time, his deposition will likely be crucial.
Because, yeah, we need to know about dog pool, lady pool, nice pool, and dead pool too. So now that Wolverine is entering the chat, there are some other people too that may also potentially enter the chat.
They're not leaving any stone unturned. Now I'm going to tell you why this is interesting to me, because I have a lot of questions about Ryan Reynolds' bromances, his various bromances over the years. We've talked about him and Jake Gyllenhaal. And obviously this has been a bromance that has been very much thrown in the public's face. Ryan's kind of perpetually highly publicizing, his bromances is something that I find to be quite strange, right? Mostly because he's a 48-year-old man, Ryan Reynolds. He has 4 kids. And he seems to dedicate a lot of time and resources, like financial resources, to trying to convince the public that these bromances are perfectly normal. And we're not really asking for that convincing. Like, I don't need people to convince me that guys can hang out with one another, but he feels like he has to make that effort. So he's like, nothing's weird here. Nothing's weird. Bromances are so normal. I mean, notoriously, that's the reason why he flew out Liz Plank, Justin Baldoni's podcast partner, flew her all the way over, presumably to the UK, to provide her expert testimony as to why bromances are like totally chill, right? They're totally okay. Remember, here's what she had to say in his Wrexham documentary about that.
The definition of the word bromance is just, it's a platonic relationship between two men. There's no female equivalent to the term bromance. The female equivalent is friends. And so the fact that we need a term to describe...
Why isn't female on bromance? Bromance, demance, diamonds, galmans. Yes, now. It is supposed to be galmans, galmans. Since there is bromance, to be gelmans, galmans, gelmans. Don't mind.
Men going out to dinner. Of the word bromance is just, it's a platonic relationship between two men. There's no female equivalent to the term bromance. The female equivalent is friends. And so the fact that we need a term to describe two men going out to dinner, I think, is very revealing about what men are allowed or are not allowed to do and how much self-policing there is when it comes to their relationships with other men. So bromance is almost this permission for men to connect and to show love to each other because it's like a joke.
So I'll ask the question, who out there needed that to be explained to them?
Exactly.
Like, who needed this justification paid for to bring in an expert to tell you that guys can go out to dinner and it's totally chill? It's a weird thing for them to be trying to constantly tell us. And he's always playing this role of kind of making a lot of gay jokes and like trying to normalize all of these gay jokes. But nobody's actually asking him to do that. Not the gay community, or the heterosexual community. And this is why this is interesting, because regarding Hugh Jackman, in case you were unaware, he recently divorced his wife of 27 years. Her name is Deborah Lee Furness. 27 years is a very long time to be married. They announced their separation to the public in September of 2023. Now, just to plot that on a timeline for you, that was in the midst of the principal filming for Deadpool and Wolverine, which got abruptly paused in that September due to the SAG-AFTRA strike. The strike began in June, I believe, and in September, Hugh Jackman announces that he and his wife are separating. Now, factually speaking, no judgment from me, but Hugh Jackman has been plagued with rumors of homosexuality throughout his entire career. It has been speculated for a host of reasons. So some fair, some not. Some people just never really bought into him at the peak of his career, having married a woman that was 13 years his senior. Some might say, oh, that's ageist. People thought this is quite strange. He was 28 years old when they got married. She was 41 years old. So many people were saying right off the bat, no. This guy is using her as a beard, which is the term that people use when you're in like one of these cover marriages. And like I told you, that accusation, it can be real in a lot of circumstances. It goes on a lot in Hollywood. And we'll get into that in my book club when we read Hollywood Babylon. Anyways, people really began upping the questioning of his sexuality after he played this really flamboyant character in the Broadway play, The Boy from Oz. That was back in 2003. The story is about an openly gay singer-songwriter named Peter Allen. And what stood out to them in that production was the fact that Hugh Jackman opted to kiss his male co-star throughout this production, even though in the original screenplay, there was no kiss between the male stars. So it was just sort of gratuitously added, which I hope there was an intimacy coordinator. That's all I can say, right?
Exactly.
Anyways, here's a little snippet of that play. And the rumors just kept happening throughout his career. They became so persistent and consistent that it culminated in an interview on 60 Minutes Australia, where he and his wife at the time, Deborah Furness, responded. And she was quite frustrated about people always asking whether or not her husband was in fact gay. Take a listen.
Appearing on stage as Peter Allen a decade ago was pivotal in Hugh's professional career. But ever since, it's raised speculation that Jackman is gay and his marriage to Deb a sham.
But again, people have shared or talked about their bromance thing and whatever. But I don't think anybody wants to bring the sexuality as whatever. I mean, we've gone to the stage where nobody freaking cares, right? But they are married. Hmm? Ryan is married. Okay, Hugh Jackman was once married. Is he married now? I don't think he's now married. But See, when you talk about this, I think there was a particular video that I saw that also talked about Reynolds and Hugh Jackman relationship and whatnot, and people were speculating, talking about things. So my question, my guess is, with all of this, is just exposing Blake and Ryan's marriage, what they do in their marriage, and their lifestyle and whatever. It is crazy. I don't think anybody really want to do a deep dive with it, because talking about Hollywood itself with the celebrities and their inner circle, whatever goes on in their circle, I don't think anybody really want to know, because when you know, you realize that for all those people who worship and adore or idolize these Hollywood couples per se, when you finally know who these people are behind closed doors, you, in fact, that idolatry or that idol, the fact that, or you are idolizing them or idolizing them, you would realize that they don't live in the exact same world as you.
Now, I read that it's only recently that you've said that these rumours about your sexuality are starting to
Oh,
get to you.
please.
If I was, I would be. I don't think it's, to me, not the most interesting thing about a person anyway, but I do get frustrated for Deb because I see Deb go, well, this is just crazy.
But it's just wrong. It's like, it's a lie. It's just the bottom line, so it's just offensive. If he was gay, fine, he would say he's gay. It has gotten so out of whack that they say it's stupid, and it's annoying because it's not true.
That's right. So you as an actor, you can't be able to sing, dance,
Yeah.
and be straight.
Right. Well, you know, it's just ridiculous.
Okay, so despite them protesting that, the rumors didn't really cease. And it wasn't helped recently when there was some very obvious PR planting regarding his new, quote unquote, new relationship. Okay. Immediately following his divorce, rumors were seeded in the press. I'm telling you, this is a PR team doing this, that he was dating his co-star, Sutton Foster. She's the co-star in another Broadway musical that he is participating in. This is called The Music Man. And I'll tell you where it gets weird. So they instantly started seeding this rumor like, yo, well, maybe he got divorced because he's in this relationship with Sutton Foster. But then he moved to set up a paparazzi shot with People Magazine, like an exclusive paparazzi shot in People Magazine of him and Sutton Foster walking hand in hand down the street so that they could confirm the rumors of them dating publicly. I'm not kidding. So this is where it says exclusive, Hugh Jackman and Sutton Foster step out hand in hand for dinner date. And then you can see, People's photos, exclusive People photos. Here they are. Just like kind of the perfect, I don't know, like I hold my husband's hand, and we're like looking at it. That one really kills me, this photo right here, where they're just kind of like staring into each other's eyes and smiling, and they both are dressed kind of perfectly and walking down the street. I think in most circumstances, when you're dating someone and holding hands, or married to someone holding hands, you're just gonna have like a weird face, right? You know what I mean? You're like, like getting out of the car, probably like you're arguing. You really have something like in your eye, and people are like, what's going on? But they're like perfectly glamorous coming out of this restaurant. And so other publications even pointed out that this was clearly a staged photo op that was done in this effort to hard launch their relationship to the public. And then 36 hours later, they were photographed again, laughing and smiling on a morning walk in Los Angeles, which is like one of the favorite fake pap shots. Like, we caught them on a walk. Once again, captured and distributed by the same magazine. People Magazine seems to be always there for them. That's likely the connection for whoever the PR agents are for the both of them. And they are smiling and looking right at the camera on this totally natural walk. Okay. So my question would just be, if you are in a real relationship, why would you have to do this? Why would you have to have your PR agents elect to catch you holding someone's hand and smiling perfectly? I think it's a bit strange. Anyway, so back to Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. They're in this bromance at the time that he separates from his wife, and you just wonder if that's also partially the reason why Blake's team is adamant that they need this AEO determination, right? They want the judge to agree to an attorney's eyes only designation to protect, as they term it, highly confidential information that could destroy the careers of the third party people that are involved. Okay, so third party, meaning they're not listed in this lawsuit as plaintiffs or defendants, but they're third parties, and they're going to get deposed, and we're going to get to subpoena some information, and they're going like, we need this AEO designation because their careers would be ruined if the public found something out about them. It just makes you ask, what truth could be so poisonous to someone's career that if revealed, it would be over? It would have to be that in some manner or another, that person is a fraud, right? In some manner or another, that person is a fraud. So whether it's how they're publicly presenting their sexuality, whether it's how they're publicly presenting their brand, a la Taylor Swift, I'm a nice girl, and then you find out she's actually a really mean girl, that would be ruinous to her career, right? Because you'd go, who are you? You invest in these people because you think they're telling you the truth, and you would just be shocked by that.
True.
So I'll tell you, Judge Lehman has reached a decision about that designation. Now, just to briefly remind you, what they wanted that for was essentially to remove the judge from the process of declaring documents AEO, attorney's eyes only. So Blake Lively's team was like, we want to be able to decide by ourselves as attorneys that this text message between Taylor and Blake Lively is AEO, which means no one else can see it but the attorneys. And we don't need to go to the judges' chambers to duke that out with the, like, it's like, if we say it is, you just got to go with us. Essentially, they become their own judges. And, obviously, like, Justin Baldoni's team said, no, we don't want that. We just want this to be like a limited scope, confidentiality agreement, and the court protective order, the standard court protective order, should suffice. Well, Judge Lehman came back with a decision to allow a limited AEO, which I think is exactly what Justin Baldoni's team was asking for. Certainly not what Blake's team wanted, because the judge will still be involved. If the attorneys disagree on that designation, then they're going to have to go to the judge, and they're going to have to duke it out and argue that this does not deserve to be attorney's eyes only, and it's relevant to my case.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to take a look at that order. Here are the 4 points in which the judge is saying, under a limited scope, they will be allowed to mark attorney's eyes only, assuming the two attorneys agree. A, they have trade secrets, confidential business plans, marketing plans, and strategies for clients other than the parties in this litigation, confidential business projects or leads on projects for clients other than the parties in this litigation, confidential creative projects or ideas other than those involved in this litigation. Of course, nobody wants that. Nobody cares if, Hugh Jackman, we find out in a text, is working on a project with Lady Gaga. I don't know. That's not exactly relevant. And of course, he should be able to keep that as proprietary to his business plans. B, you have security measures taken by parties or third parties. Of course, we don't really need to know who they're using for security, how they're getting it in and out of places, that we just don't need
care.
it. C, medical information of parties or third parties.
We
Again,
don't
that is
care.
an obvious designation. Like, no, and it wouldn't be ruinous to their career, by the way, necessarily, but like, it's just not our business to know what ailments they're facing, what drugs they're taking. I get that. That's totally fine. And D, highly personal and intimate information about third parties, and highly personal and intimate information, that's very interesting, about parties other than information that is directly relevant to the truth or falsity of any allegation in the complaints in this case. And I think D is where it's going to get choppy in the judges' chambers. I think that they're not going to agree on this, right? Because what happens if a text message, as we said, like intimate relationships? What happens if there's a text message, like I said, Taylor Swift was just coming out of a relationship with Joe Owens, Hugh Jackman was coming out of this relationship with Deborah Furness. They're talking to their quote unquote best friends. What if it comes out that, I don't know, I'm making this text up completely, but Taylor Swift texts Blake Lively and says, I'll give you a connection. You can burn Justin Baldoni with my dragon fire like I did to Joe Owens. Ooh, spicy. What's the judge? And then probably what's going to happen is Blake's team is going to argue that's ruinous to Taylor Swift's career. And then you're going to have Brian Friedman in the chambers like, excuse me, this is unbelievably relevant because it's showing that this was a part of a larger plan to harm him. And they were using this example of what she did to Joe Allen. Like, that's the kind of stuff where it's going to get very dicey. These attorneys are not going to agree on what's relevant to the case, because I tend to agree with Brian Friedman. It's all relevant. If you find out that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Hefman have a relationship or something, it does change significantly. It tells you about the mindset. There's so many things that are relevant for the jury to understand.
Exactly. Because we need to know lady pool, nice pool, dog pool, and who again? Dead pool. They are all relevant to this case. Very, very relevant. And that is a part. And maybe, just maybe, Khaleesi and the one with teeth. Very important.
What was going on in these people's lives. That's why even I said, I was like, what was her mentality coming out of a 5-year relationship with Joe Allen? Did she just want to blow some fire and just kind of, do some things, do some hood rat stuff with her friends? Like I want to do all the time, every day on this podcast, just want to do hood rat stuff with my friends. Maybe that's how Taylor Swift felt. So I think it's going to get dicey there. We're going to see what exactly they decide, what exactly the judge agrees to. I think we'll piece by piece. The trial is not supposed to be until 2026 March. So they certainly have time. And I think right now, if I'm Blake's team, I'm thinking about folding. I'm like, I'm not really comfortable with this, and I don't feel confident about this.
Settle.
And maybe it's time to fold and talk about settlement. I'll also show you this really quickly on page 9 of the judge's decision. He writes, before the parties make an AEO designation, the protective order places on them the burden of determining that the information is not directly relevant to an allegation in the pleadings, which is essentially him saying, like, you are going to have to explain to us why you don't think it's relevant to the pleadings for us to know this. And I think it's all relevant. I think it's all, obviously not health information, but you can't really get into somebody's mindset. And if you don't understand the communications that they were having with their friends while they were doing these promo skits, while he was talking to his mom about reading those lines, like, we need to see
and
all
ayahuasca.
of that. So what does this mean? Yeah, well, it's going to get interesting. It's already interesting. We are obviously learning that he's getting deposed. And like I said, I think Friedman's team is probably feeling really good right about now. That's what I would say, because it's all relevant and it's all going to come out. Taylor Swift is allegedly in hiding. And this actually premiered in the Daily Mail, that she's allegedly in hiding, that she's very concerned about being pulled into this case. Again, I will ask the question, what is it that she is so fearful of?
Exactly.
Because I would not be fearful to be pulled into a case. I feel like I conduct myself in private as I conduct myself in public. And so they're basically saying she's aware of all the speculation of what's happening. She doesn't want to get dragged into this case. She doesn't want to be deposed. She doesn't want to be subpoenaed in this case. And she just wants to go be happy with Travis Kelce. And they keep trying to blur this message out. And that, it just makes me think that she did something, that there's a major uh-oh here for her. And that's why I think they're going to fold. Okay.
Question 1. Whose idea was it to throw the dragon's line? Whose idea was it to say, "Call me Khaleesi, Queen of Dragons, those little monsters of mine"? Whose idea was it? See, all of those things, you know, you will fear when you've done something wrong. Eh? And they know. And judging from the fact that these people, they have a very interesting relationship dynamic, it's gonna be pretty much interesting. More than likely, their friendship, their relationship, how they perceive, how they interact, and all that. Because before now, nobody knew that she, that's Blake Lively, sent a message to Justin Baldoni and called herself Khaleesi, and that she has dragons. So obviously, imagine lots more text messages, and I think there was also another text message exchange that we saw that was written that allegedly writes that somebody is a beast. I mean, even that video, right? That video of the slow dance montage video of Blake Lively also calling Justin Baldoni allegedly and his family a sociopath, right? So, I mean, because somebody is trying to take things out of context, but they don't think that their own that they are saying it's bad. You just imagine Khaleesi. So obviously they know that the text message exchange will not be very, very nice, or will not be nice on their part, and they may not want it to go out there. Because I mean, nobody at this point, after hearing about Khaleesi, everybody's mind is like Khaleesi and Dragon Plantation Khaleesi. But yeah, there is this article from News Nation, right, that also talks about this. So we're gonna read it. This is Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds' friends dragged into "It Ends With Us" lawsuit. Content creators claim they are being intimidated. Okay. Okay. Wow. So this reads, this week it was reported Hugh Jackman. Okay. News Nation, Taylor Swift isn't the only famous friend being dragged into the Tendritors battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. This week, it was reported Hugh Jackman will also be deposed in August by Baldoni attorney Brian Friedman. According to a Daily Mail source, this will happen before the trial, as Baldoni's legal team wants to get the full scope of Reynolds' conduct during the time It Ends With Us was filming. Hugh Jackman to get deposed in It Ends With Us lawsuit insider. Hugh will be deposed if this goes to trial, the insider said. There is no way that he cannot. Baldoni's legal team is doing everything they need to do to get a full scope of Ryan's conduct during the time that It Ends With Us was filmed. As Ryan's good friend who starred in the film and was with Blake and Ryan many times in private during that time, his deposition will likely be crucial. They are not going to leave any stone unturned. Absolutely, as it should be. Okay. Jackman would also have insight into Reynolds writing the Nice Pool character into Deadpool and Wolverine as an inside joke. Friedman claims at Baldoni's expense. Yeah, this is it. We need Nice Pool to come forward. Nice Pool need to come forward, because we need what exactly was going through the mind of Nice Pool. We need that, right? And yeah, Lady Pool too, because Lady Pool, we also need to know what's going or running in the mind of Lady Pool as well as Dog Pool, right? Right. I don't think it's just only um nice pool, lady pool, and dog pool. Blake Lively back on Instagram. Meanwhile, I don't think this is our concern, not our business. Several content creators on TikTok and Instagram who have been critical of actress say they are being threatened with legal action by Lively's team, and others say they are being personally intimidated. Are you serious? Are you serious? One woman, Caitlin Marie Cube, I think we've seen this video, claims Khaleesi and her dragons lively. Did they just state Khaleesi and her dragons? Lively and crew called her fat, and in Instagram stories said the actress reps followed her and intimidated her during the South by Southwest premiere of Another Simple Favor. Reps for Blake Lively, reps for reps from Lively and Jackman didn't return emails. Okay, okay. I think that is all of it. So yeah, we need to know what was going through the mind of dog pool, nice pool, lady pool, and potentially dead pool. So obviously this is important. This is crucial, right? We need it. Not just that, we also need Khaleesi and maybe the other little gorgeous monsters of ours of theirs in this as well. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Obviously, I would love you to share that in the comments below. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.